Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Well, hello, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome back and happy Thursday. How's your day going so far? Mine's pretty hairy busy, but I gotta say, I appreciate it. I just got back from a nice lunch break with my kids, and want to be able to watch them jump rope before they head back to their Zoom calls. One of the perks of being in a pandemic, right? We're all here at home together. And if you're joining us on the replay, I also want to say a big hello to all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's wonderful to have you with us. And a big welcome to my friends at Modern Mom, as we're now also streaming to you so you can stay on top of relevant business and financial news. Let's start with the market. Let you know how we close. The Dow closed up 199 points. The NASDAQ was up 15. The S&P 500 also up 20 today. So today the market ended in positive territory across the board as we try to turn things around for the week after a rough couple of days for investors. Several of the travel names that fared actually poorly yesterday saw better days today. Investors gripped on really what to expect of this unemployment data that came out, but fortunately it came out pretty good. Actually, we're going to hold on to it because the Department of Labor shared that 684,000 Americans filed for unemployment last week, ending March 20th. However, remember, 735,000 were expected. So that's certainly a much better number. However, a lot of big tech names and names which have done well during shutdown continue to be lower for the month of March. And some good news. It looks like mothers who choose to be vaccinated from the COVID-19 vaccine can actually pass protection to their babies. Today, a study by AJOG showed that both the COVID-19 vaccines by Pfizer and Moderna led the medical community to believe that the vaccine is not only effective in pregnant women, but it may also bolster their immune response to the disease and even passing protective antibodies to their babies. That's certainly good news. I'm going to tell you. Actually, one of my cousin-in-law, she actually, while she was pregnant, she got the vaccine. She's a medical professional, and she said she was excited to see if there were antibodies being passed to her child. So hopefully that's good news for her. And as the pandemic persists, many of us are recognizing that the days forward are going to be a change from where things were in the past. It's time to accept that although life as we knew it might be different, we also take the knowledge that we've gleaned the past year to better prepare for our new normal. People, families have been slowly dipping their toes back into travel. We see many of the hotels and airports starting to get more traffic. We've been seeing pictures, right, from different parts of the country. You probably have seen these as well in the news. Kind of scary since we're still in a pandemic, but still gives us some hope, something to look forward to. So today, let me tell you, I've been very, very excited about inviting our two guests in today. They're two good friends of mine. I just said before we jump in there, I want to say a quick hello to so many of you joining us on all the different channels. Wendy Barker, it's so great to see you on YouTube. Or the tech stops down due to increasing inflation. Well, there's always going to be concerns about inflation, Wendy. That can't be helped. And certainly if people who think that inflation isn't here, I think I would disagree. However, I think there's a lot of reasons. Some of the names that we talked about and the industry we talked about, many investors are feeling that they're overheated. So that's part of it as well. So let's bring on the one and only Bethany Walsh. Bethany is a native New Yorker and a credit card travel rewards program strategist as the founder of BougieMiles.com. Bethany works to teach her friends that luxury travel is never out of budget. She makes sure that you live the good life, especially on your vacations. Her favorite vacation spots include Hong Kong, Toronto, and any place with a nice, beautiful beach. Bethany lives for a deal and has had a read obsession for the miles and points game ever since she reached her first sign-up bonus. When Bethany is not lying on a beach analyzing mileage award charts, she enjoys spending time with her foster dogs, plus her 4 pets and her hot husband, and volunteering for an animal rescue. Welcome, Bethany, to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am great. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we are happy we're happy to have you. You're like you're here to share with you. Every time we have you here, we learn something new. And I feel like the travel bank is getting upped another level. So those of you who are watching, you're in for a treat. Let me tell you, Jeanette is here. I'm so excited. This is actually Jeanette's first time on the show, and she's an award-winning bilingual travel journalist, TV host, travel advisor, and a global public speaker. In fact, in 2008, she graduated with a degree in broadcast journalism from Belmont University and completed the professional producing program at UCLA. She combines her love for travel and over 10 years work as a journalist and TV host into Jet Set with Jeanette. By the way, we got to say hello to her mom, who we love, Carmen. It's great to have you with us as well. We're honored to have you with us on the show. Jeanette has interviewed countless celebrities, politicians, athletes, and more on the red carpet. Well, Jeanette, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Thank you, Winnie, for having me on. I'm so happy to be here. Last time we met was prior to the pandemic, and we were having a fabulous lunch in Beverly Hills. But this is next to the best of that, to be here with you.
Thank you so much. I know we're going to have to revisit that post-pandemic because that was a good lunch, but the conversation, the company were much, much better, I will say. So thank you so much for being here. I'm excited because I don't know about those of you who are joining us. You're in for a treat. I hope that you have your notepads open or your pens ready because let me tell you, these two powerhouses are going to bring it, and we're going to learn so much about how we can fill up our travel bank. Let me ask some questions. Let's have some fun. This is the first time we're doing this on the show. For those of you who join us every day, you're gonna love this. We're doing a little bit of travel trivia, okay? So here is a question I love to share with all of you. And those of you who are watching, I want you also to answer as well, okay? So this is gonna be our first question, where do you think the first commercial flight ever in history departed from, okay? Obviously, this happened 102 years ago, I believe. Was it San Antonio, Texas? Was it Sanibel, Florida? Was it Honolulu, Hawaii? Was it St. Petersburg, Florida? Or was it Fort Bragg, California? Let's give you a minute to think about that because I'm curious of what you think. I mean, you got 5 answers here. We want to see what you think. I see many of you joining on all different platforms. So we want to get your answers. Let's start with Jeanette. Jeanette, now understand, I know you weren't born 102 years ago. So, but curious, do you have an inkling of what this could be?
Okay, so I am torn between Honolulu, Hawaii, or St. Petersburg, Florida for some reason. So I'm 50-50.
Okay. You're 50-50.
Do we get
I will say
just kidding.
I know you. We should have an ability for you to call a friend for this, right? Well, how about we do this? We're gonna give you a moment to think about it, and we're gonna come back to you. Bethany, we're coming to you. I'm guessing you're wishing you had a friend right now, but I do know you probably have somebody, that you could reach out to. But what do you think? Who would you guess on?
Okay, so I'm thinking Honolulu because
Honolulu.
Yeah, like it used to be a military base, and so that might be a reason to have a commercial flight. And then my second choice would be San Antonio, and I don't know why.
Well, San Antonio is a big military town, so I can see that direction going there. All right, Jeanette, final answer.
I'm going to go with Hawaii because that was my first as well. That was kind of my first guess.
Okay, Jeanette takes Hawaii. Wendy Barker on YouTube, by the way, is saying St. Petersburg, Florida. Bethany, what's your final answer?
Also Honolulu.
Honolulu. Okay, let's just agree that Honolulu would be an awesome place for the first commercial flight to ever take place. Not to mention, I just miss Honolulu, Hawaii so much. But let's just say there's only one winner today, and that winner is Wendy. Wendy, great job. You were absolutely right. Wendy, good job. All right. Next question we have. Let's have another one. This is really fun. All right. What do you think was the busiest airport in the world in 2020? Very specific. We're talking last year. All right. Was it LAX? Was it Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport? Was it Dallas Airport? Was it Chicago O'Hare? Was it Beijing Capital International Airport? Or was it Amsterdam Airport? This is a trick question because normally I know the two of you would have jumped and said, oh, I know exactly what that is. But for 2020, a very specific year, my friends. All right, this time we're starting with Bethany. Bethany, what do you think?
I think Atlanta.
You think Atlanta. All right.
Because
Now,
I know it's usually one of the busiest. And
it's
I
a
feel
crazy
like
airport.
it is. I actually don't mind it because they have a really good burger place, but that's besides the point. And I feel like Beijing is thrown in there just to throw us off. Because that would also kind of make sense since they got out of it before we did. But is Wendy going to be right again?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Jeanette, you heard Bethany's logic and thinking here. What are you thinking?
Yes. Well, I've flown out of LAX, and that was really empty, the furthest emptiest I've seen ever. So I'm counting LAX out. I would say Dallas, Fort Worth International Airport, because it seems like such a hub for so many destinations, domestic as well. So I'm going to go with number 3, Dallas.
Number 3, Dallas. Okay. And Wendy is joining us. She has said number 6, Amsterdam. All right. I don't know if you'll find this interesting, my friends, but all of these airports are in the top 9 for 2020. So, Bethany, are you surprised?
I am surprised about Amsterdam, actually. Although I think that might be the only international airport that I was at in 2020. Well,
okay. we're gonna go deeper on that. Okay, so Vicky is voting for number 1, LAX. Well, Jeanette did say LAX was actually quite empty. I will tell you, believe it or not, it was actually Chicago O'Hare. Chicago O'Hare was the busiest airport in 2020.
Wow.
Interesting, really? Right?
Huh.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so let me build on that then. Okay, Jeanette and Bethany, who connects in Chicago? I'm sure you know this. I know American does.
Right. Airline.
Oh, American Airline.
Yeah,
sorry.
Definitely American. I was like, I don't know who does. Yeah, definitely American. I know, like, maybe Delta. Yeah, obviously. And then I don't know. And United also. So they all do.
They all do. Oh, okay, good. It's a big airport.
I also think Chicago is popular for cargo, I believe. Like, I don't know why I feel like Chicago's a big location.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's also very popular on my list because Chicago Airport has an amazing shopping destination within the airport. So not that is of course important, but it is important. It's very nice. It's like if you got to get stuck somewhere, I used to tell I travel quite a bit for business, and I used to say if I have to get stuck somewhere, then I think Chicago would be an okay place to travel because at least you can walk, you can do you can get your steps in, and every store looks so pretty. It looks like you're walking through South Coast Plaza. So not a bad thing. All right. Let me ask you, last trivial question before we get into the fun with both of you is, what was the most traveled to city in 2020? Was it Hong Kong? Was it Paris, France? Was it Washington, D.C.? Was it London? Was it Taipei? Or was it Cancun? So this time, let's start with Jeanette again. What do you think, Jeanette? And Wendy, I'm excited to hear what you're going to say. And Vicky, too.
I'm going to go with Cancun, Mexico, because I feel like Mexico's never closed. And so I feel like a lot of Americans have and are still traveling there. So I would say number 6, Cancun, Mexico.
I did hear that Mexico was like the top destination for Americans. I did read that. Well, let me ask you this, Bethany. What are you thinking? What do you think was the top travel to destination last year?
So I did go to Cancun, but I think it's Washington.
You think it's Washington?
Yeah. I think.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Going on.
Let's see who. Do we have any shares? Let's see. Anybody want to take a guess? Who is watching us? All right, they're gonna be shy. Let me just say, when I was looking at this list, I was like, oh wow, there's so many places I would want to go to. I don't want to go to all these places. All sound amazing, but believe it or not. Oh, wait, Wendy is giving us a number 1. She says Hong Kong. Number 4, Vicky says number 4, which is London, UK. All right. Okay. Are we ready? I almost feel like we're gonna be ready here. All right. All right.
Ready.
So fingers crossed, right? Well, Wendy, you are once again right. Let's go with Hong Kong, Hong Kong. We got to give Wendy a big
Wendy
round of
crushed
applause.
it.
That's impressive. That's like really impressive.
Amazing.
Great job. Great job. I love it. Okay. So let's get down to what all of us want to know is how do we beef up our travel bank? How do we make decisions on where to travel and what things should we be doing, thinking now? You know, we just heard yesterday in the news that it looks like the coronavirus could be with us for quite a long time. Nobody gave him or her the memo to leave. So it looks like we're going to be stuck with the pandemic. So we're going to have to make plans on how we're going to live with this going forward. So we might as well do a little dreaming and have a little planning, have some fun, and plan our next trip. Let me ask you this. Let's start with a fun one. Favorite places to visit. Jeanette, what have been some of your favorite places to visit? And have you visited any places during this pandemic?
My favorite places to visit internationally would have to be India, Cuba, Argentina, and France, Italy, and I lived in Australia as well, so I would have to put Australia in there. And I'm sorry, what was the second part, Winnie?
Did you no problem. Did you do any travel during the pandemic?
Only domestic. So from California to Tennessee and Florida. So it's all been domestic. I have not been out of the country in over 1 year, which is a first. Ever since I was 6 months, I would always go to Mexico City to visit with my family, my grandparents. So for me, it's really a first to just not travel outside of the country. Yeah.
Well, Bethany, same question to you. I think this is great. I mean, we have a really impressive list from Jeanette. We talked about that a little bit in your bio, but where have you traveled during this pandemic?
What's funny is that I'm going to go the complete opposite of what Jeanette did and go totally lowbrow and say that my two favorite places to visit are Vegas and Toronto.
Vegas and Toronto.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Especially Toronto. I mean, oh God, it's such an amazing place. And I feel like it's kind of like New York. So like I have that hometown feel, but at the same time, there's so much culture there and everything's clean and they have good food and it's really cheap because of the conversion rate. So I love it.
And it's probably a very short flight from New York, right?
Oh yeah. It's like less than an hour. And there's one airport. There's two airports in Toronto, but one of them takes you directly into the city. So it's like a 5-minute, not a walk. It's like a 10-minute walk to like whatever hotel you're staying at. It's awesome.
It's awesome. Well, Jeanette's list sounded pretty exotic. I got to talk to her about that. I mean, I'm excited to talk to her and hear more about traveling in India. That actually sounds really interesting. So let me ask you this. How do you use travel rewards without credit cards? This is something that a lot of people ask about. And Bethany, I definitely want to lead with you on this. This is an area, obviously, your expertise. If you don't already, you definitely want to follow bougiemiles.com. I mean, I'm lucky because I have Bethany on speed dial. So she gets like the most amazing travel hacks that basically nobody knows about. I'm just going to put it out there. So tell us about that. Best pandemic hack or something that most people don't know about.
Okay. So I think that a lot of people get into this like mindset that they have to have credit cards if they're going to do award travel. And obviously that doesn't work for everyone, right? There are some people who can't get credit or, don't want it. And so I've sort of tried to figure out ways to get around that. And there are a few ways. And I think they're like, especially right now, very lucrative. So first of all, I think most people know about like cashback portals and most of your favorite airline and hotel programs have a program that's essentially the same thing as a cashback portal, except you're earning their miles and points. Another way is to buy loyalty points, which people in the hobby like scoff at, but sometimes they're really good deals and there are reasons to buy miles and points. Like right now, everything's so cheap, right? Well, I heard recently that like in the last week that all of the travel prices went up, like there's a spike, but I mean, still they were at all-time lows. So basically you can just do arbitrage with miles and points that you buy. What else? There are now debit cards that you can earn miles and points with. So these are all like really good ways to bring people into the reward space that don't necessarily have a credit card or credit here in the US.
Okay, great. Those are some great tips. So, Jeanette, I know that you've traveled a lot and you have a lot of people who watch your show and read your content travel as well. What are some of your best tips on planning for travel and things to do even before even before you're about to pack your bags? What are sort of in your mind, the must-dos before traveling, especially right now during the pandemic? Are there certain things that people can be doing proactively in anticipation of travel?
Absolutely. So the last international trip I did was to Egypt, and that was right before the pandemic. So the end of February, the first week of March. And then ever since then, I've been doing domestic travel and also small road trips and from here across the US. But for anybody who wants to take a trip, domestically or internationally, I would say do the research. If you're looking to go international, I would definitely look at what are the quarantine rules. Most countries now are requiring a negative COVID test within 72 hours, as well as what else are the restrictions. So if you're looking internationally, look at what is happening right now. And again, everything is changing. So I would definitely recommend to do as much research as you can. Now, when you're on the searching, whether you're using a travel advisor or if you're searching on your own and you want to go through like Expedia or another platform, when you do your research, look on one device and then book on a different one, because there's always the cookies and they're tracking, because you'll go and you'll look again the same day and miraculously the price will go up. So that's another fun tip that I have. But also, there are travel advisors. So travel advisors are actually great right now because you have that person who will be there for you, in all these unpredicted situations that are happening. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that too.
So, Jeanette, let me ask you this in terms of working with a travel advisor, right? So, let's say, for example, you have a lot of travel miles or you have a lot of travel points. Does the travel advisor work with the points and miles that you have in your program? Is that something that travel advisor also does?
Yeah, so usually a travel advisor when you go with your travel advisor, they'll ask you, do you have a preferred airline? So a lot of travelers like to travel on a specific airline, like they're loyal to Delta or American or Southwest. So they'll be on their loyalty reward program or their miles program. So for me, if I want to travel internationally, I'll usually choose an airline that I travel the most with so I can get more points as well, more miles. A lot of travelers they just prefer one airline for some specific reason. So a travel advisor will help you to get the most benefit of flying. They'll also know perks. Maybe they can upgrade you to, first class, for example, or if it's your birthday, maybe I've heard stories where they can coordinate to sing or do something. I just
Really?
yeah, there was a family. This is pre-pandemic, of course, but they got saying happy birthday. Maybe it's once in a while kind of thing, but I think the travel advisor will also know how to quickly help you upgrade or change. For example, if you're stranded or you missed your layover, it's always good to have an advisor and to call at any moment.
That's true. You never want to be stranded and not know what to do. That's a big one for sure. Well, let me ask you this, Bethany. Let's talk about travel rewards, with credit cards and talking about low hanging fruit for 2021, 2022. Where are you seeing opportunities? And you're absolutely right. I actually read this article, Bethany, a couple of days ago that said that, car rentals in Hawaii, believe it or not, are at a point where that there is no availability. In fact, like if you're going to be traveling in October or beyond, you should actually book your car now because they're saying literally hotels are sold out and the article I think was titled something like Hawaii has sold out. So, I know. So I guess prices are going up quite a bit. Are there any, like you talked about, are there things that we should be planning if we're looking at 2020, end of 2021, maybe 2022? What should the normal person who isn't as savvy as you and Jeanette be doing right now?
So normally for regular people who just travel for vacations and maybe a little bit for work, don't usually have access to elite status with airlines or hotels. Basically, that just means that you stay or fly enough with a certain airline or group that they give you lots of perks, right? Right now, there are so many deals for status that people who have flown an airline like once can get upgraded to like sometimes top tier status just by doing a couple of things. And I feel like it's such a cool opportunity for people to sort of see what they've been missing this whole time. And then they're also like extending so yesterday I did a post, Founders Card is a members only program, and they're giving free Virgin Atlantic status for almost 2 years if you take one flight. And I mean,
Wow.
that's just kind of crazy. And you could probably take your flight with Delta. I didn't confirm that, but they are a partner.
That's
So
incredible.
I'm thinking that would work. Yeah.
I was going to ask you to give us an example of one that you think, like, in addition to that, is there any other that you're like, wow, that was a great one that I wrote about too, that we should also be paying attention to?
Yeah. So I actually have. Oh, wait. Were you talking to me? It kind of cut out.
No.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Bethany. Sorry.
Yeah. So I actually was doing a post about mileage runs, which is something that business travelers used to do, and now I think like there's some relevance with the COVID allowances. And I found a flight that was like $1,700, lie flat business class on Air France. And it would almost get you to the second level of Delta status for 2 years.
Wow.
And I mean, who can't use Delta status?
So, but you have to do the one flight, right?
Yes, but there's no expiration. So you just have to sign up and then take the flight like when you're ready.
That's incredible. That's wonderful. Jeanette, have you been seeing this too? I'm sure you've been talking about and hearing this. The opportunities do exist for those who obviously don't travel as much as before, but of course, have always aspired to have better status when they travel, right? Because that sometimes can be, like Bethany mentioned, upgrades in terms of your seat on the plane, maybe an upgrade when you check in the hotel. These are things that, many people haven't experienced. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree with Bethany. And those are great tips to know. I didn't know some of that as well. So it's good to know. I would definitely say yes. I think it was American Airlines that is doing surveys for miles, where you can do surveys and get miles. I've received a couple of those emails, as well as now is a good time to get, for example, TSA PreCheck. If you don't have it, as things are slow right now, it's something you can get TSA PreCheck. It's about $80, and it's so you get into the security line expedited. So you have that for a few years, and you don't have to, take out your laptop, take off your shoes, and that's just such a luxury, especially when you're traveling so much, or even on your next trip. I also would recommend doing that now, because the lines are really quick and easy, and it's something that you can always use on your next trip.
That's a great tip. The other thing I'm going to ask you is, Jeanette, have you heard about, the vaccine passport? There are certain countries right now that are saying they're going to require this for you to travel to those countries. Are there certain countries that you know of right now that are open to Americans? And maybe if you have more information on this vaccine passport, I'm guessing a lot of your clientele has been asking.
Yes, I am hearing talks about the vaccine passports. I think the UK is doing a beta. They're testing it right now. But the countries that are available for Americans that are open, again, Mexico is still open. Ghana, Egypt is open. Belize is open as well, and Peru. So these are some countries that are open for Americans. However, please look into the country that you want to visit again for what are their rules for quarantine, what you have to take the negative COVID test within 72 hours. Every country has their own regulations and rules. So it's really good to do, again, as much research as you can before you actually book your flight or hotel. But with hotels, what I'm hearing is a lot of hotels you can book now and travel later. So if you have to postpone or cancel, you can call the hotel or you can call your travel advisor if you have one, and postpone it for another day without, I believe, any kind of penalty. So again, it just depends what country you're going to. But the good news is with the vaccinations that are coming out and with more people getting vaccinations, I feel like travelers are starting to search more internationally and to look into future trips. So it's starting to come, the interest. So time will tell, of course, but with the vaccinations, I'm starting to hear some optimism for travelers.
Yeah, definitely. I think many of us, I mean, my family and I are big travelers, and literally every week my kids are saying, when are we going to be able to travel again? I'm like, I'm hoping we get this vaccine soon, and then we can definitely consider planning like an amazing trip. Bethany, let's talk about loyalty programs. I love talking to you about this and learning. So what are your favorite loyalty programs, your evergreen, and maybe some that sort of sparked your interest during the pandemic that maybe you didn't look at as closely before into?
Yeah, so I love Marriott hotels, but the brand sometimes leaves me wanting more in terms of loyalty. But they do have the bougiest brands. So, if you want to stay at the St. Regis or the Ritz, like it's Marriott all day, right? But this year, and you're very familiar with World of Hyatt, they did this amazing offer where they basically gave everybody who traveled a little bit like their top tier status, which is really cool because it includes things like free breakfast, guaranteed suites, and I mean
free parking too.
Okay, so can we talk about free parking? Because because I don't drive anywhere. I'm, a city girl. And I checked in at a Hyatt place just to get some points. And she told me that it was $10 for parking. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, you people charge for parking? It was like mind blowing to me. I could not believe it. And it turns out, yeah, it's like a very common thing. They charge for parking. The only place
unless you have status.
I did not know that. But isn't like the Hyatt place, isn't the whole thing that everything's supposed to be like included?
Well, you think so, but it's not always the case, Bethany. But one thing that you know this as well is those of you who have Hyatt status, you can actually match it over to, is it Caesar's status or something? So if you go to Las Vegas, yeah. M-Life, yeah, that's really helpful. And I gotta say why it's helpful, okay, because I matched my status and it was so convenient. So when you want to go to like a Bethany bougie hotel to take your family to have an amazing dinner, you can pull right up the valet and take care of your car, and all is great. And all you did was just status match. I love that. I learned all these wonderful tricks from my friends like Bethany and Jeanette, and everybody else who's in this industry, because these are some really great people to follow. Let's go have some fun. I think it's time for our speed round.
Okay. Can I win this one, maybe?
I love this part because we get to put our friends on the hot seat. Okay, so they get 1 minute to answer 2 questions. And we are going to start with Jeanette on the first one. We're set with Bethany on the second one. So the first question, Jeanette, let me ask you this, is you get to pack only 3 things for your next vacation. And of course, you've got 2 suitcases at your disposal. What do you pack? Only 3 things, Jeanette.
Oh, this is difficult. I would say my passport, and I would say a journal because I'm a writer at heart, and a camera because I'm also a photographer. I love taking pictures. So camera, journal, and my passport.
No clothes, no food, nothing else. I guess you only have 3 things. You're going to have to make do. All right. I'm loving this list, though, Jeanette.
Thank you.
Okay. Bethany, same question. 3 things, 2 suitcases. What do you pack?
I am packing mascara, champagne, and my favorite pair of Toms for walking.
I love it. So, but how are you going to get through TSA? No kidding. That's true. Okay. Oh, that's right. Because it's in. I see what you mean. Because it's in a suitcase. So the only thing you pack, because you don't typically pack. So Jeanette, you would have been allocated one more item. All right. Very good. I love this. Very, very good. Now, those who are watching, Wendy, I'd love to hear those of you who are watching what 3 things you would pack in your suitcase. Next question, Bethany, you go first. And that is, what's the worst destination that you've ever traveled to? And second, would you ever return there?
I'm sorry for everybody who lives there. New Orleans. It is, to me, the least bougie place I've ever been in my entire life. And I would never go back. No. I mean, okay, so I was actually supposed to go back and then it got canceled, but that was for an award gathering. So I would not go back just to visit. Although I have to say, amazing food, but it was kind of dirty.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Well, Jeanette, same question. And I'm going to know.
Well, I would have to say it's a combination of a couple random towns in California. I've done a couple road trips from LA to San Francisco. I would have to say Victorville. I'm sorry to anyone who lives there. It's just, I would not want to be stranded there, and
Not bougie.
Not bougie.
I've been to Victorville, so I understand. It is, yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, good to know. Thank you so much for that. It's really helpful. By the way, I just love having you both here. Thank you so much for sharing your insight. 2 amazing human beings. Let me ask you this, Jeanette. Where can people go to follow you, to learn more about you? Maybe if they want to connect with you and learn more about travel from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Winnie. I really appreciate you and everything you do. And Bethany, it's nice to meet you virtually. They can contact me on my website, www.jetsetwithjeanette.com. Also, my social media is at jetsetwithjeanette. 2 N's, everybody. I'm always happy to interact, engage. If you have any questions or if you need any help for anything travel related, reach out to me. También hablo español, so I speak Spanish. So I do a lot of work with the Latin media and in Mexico. So if you want to reach me there, you can do that as well.
I love that. So helpful. And that was beautiful, by the way. Thank you so much, Jeanette. All right, Bethany, where do people go to learn more about you? I'm guessing they're going to want to read these articles, especially on that Virgin Atlantic deal. That was a really interesting founder's card. I don't know. I got my Bougie Miles list already written down.
Yes, so bougiemiles.com. It's true. It's all gems. It's really an amazing website. And that is not supposed to be happening right there, that guides thing. I have somebody to yell at. And then my YouTube channel. I need YouTube subscribers, and you will get the best information that is not to be published in print. That's sort of the whole thing, right? So if you watch a video, I can give a lot more tips than I'm capable of doing in print. And if you have questions, definitely reach out to Jeanette.
I love that. That's really great information. So for the really good, juicy tips, you got to go to Bethany's YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely going to do that for sure. I love that. And I want to say a huge thank you also to our friends at Into. Have a really cool giveaway for you this month and next month, I believe too. Into is actually providing codes for free TurboTax to use this tax season for some of our lucky viewers. Intuit, the global technology platform that serves millions of customers worldwide with TurboTax, QuickBooks, Credit Karma, and Mint, they believe that everyone should have the opportunity to prosper. So visit Intuit.com for the latest news and information about Intuit and its brands. And a huge thank you to, of course, Jeanette and Bethany for being here, and for all of you for watching and supporting our program. Please take a moment to share this show. I would love it. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Love Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Be well, and I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.